Well, even a fun course like Ancient Laughter, Classics 391, eventually has to have the evaluative process of the midterm. So let's discuss the midterm exam. I hope that you'll use the midterm exam as a great opportunity for you to express your sense of humor. I hope that has been enhanced so far in this part of the course, and you'll be able to reflect that back to me in your essay and maybe even your ID section. So that'll be great, because if you can impress me that you're really enjoying what we're talking about in the course, and that you're really feeling the spirit of ancient comedy, that will definitely make a really good impression upon me. And as you heard in that previous video on grading, that's really excellent for your grade. So hope that the midterm will be an opportunity for you and not a piece of drudgery to get past. It does count for 40% of your grade, so obviously take it seriously. But nonetheless, you should have an ample opportunity here to demonstrate to me that what we've been talking about here and what you've been reading about ancient laughter, ancient comedy, is really making a very humorous impression upon you. All right, so we're going to talk here about the mechanics of the midterm exam to get you ready to take it properly. First of all, before you start, please double check that you did complete the Oath of Academic Honesty, as you were asked to do in the first session of the class. If you did not do it because you joined the class late or for some reason missed that particular requirement, please go back to the forums on Sakai and locate the forum that says Oath of Academic Honesty. Please pull out the document, read it over, sign it, and then upload it back into the forum Oath of Academic Honesty, and then that way I will know that you will be observing proper academic standards for University of Rhode Island, as well as my own standards here on the course. So please make sure that's taken care of properly. Okay, so the midterm exam itself is given to you on your calendar on Sakai, and the forums and the syllabus as to exactly when it is due. As I've emphasized in previous videos, I mean, I want this to be a humorous course, but there are a few things that we do have to take seriously, and this is one of them. You do need to get the midterm exam into me on time. Any lateness will cause you to start getting late deductions. That's not a funny thing. So please get that midterm exam into me properly in your Dropbox as a full single document, either Word or PDF. And then if it's there on time in that form, then you'll be in good shape. And again, it must go in your Dropbox. Please make sure it goes there. If you have to contact me because the Dropbox gives you any difficulty, then do so and we'll make a different arrangement. But otherwise, please make sure that it gets into your Dropbox. Okay, the midterm exam itself will appear in resources depending on which session you're taking, either a week before it's due or a few days before it's due. And so therefore pay attention in resources to find it. There's also the midterm exam review sheet that you can look over before you take the midterm and then take the midterm itself. When you get the midterm, please sit down in a single sitting, to complete the whole thing if you can, both closed book part and open book part if possible. If you, for schedule reasons, cannot do that, then you might be able, for instance, to take one part in one sitting and one part in another sitting, but try to simulate the conditions of the midterm as closely as possible so that it'll suit academic standards as much as possible too. Okay, on the midterm exam itself, you will find the 10 identifications that you need for the closed book part. You will find the questions for the passages, the 3 passages that will be emailed to you, and then you will find the question for the open book essay, including some guides as to how to write it. Okay, so that will all be on the midterm exam itself. So when you get that document out of resources, you'll have what you need. Okay, so now let's go through the mechanics of it. The closed book part has 2 sections, and this counts for 40 points out of the total 100 points of the grade. The IDs are 28 points in sum, and the passages are 12 points. So the IDs will be mainly characters taken from the plays and other concepts that relate to those plays. Luckily, at this point, you have only needed to read 3 plays, Aristophanes' Clouds, Wasps, and Birds, so that should not give you too much to study. Just make sure you review those characters, and you should be in good shape for the ID section of the closed book part. And when you do the IDs, look for 3 different things that you can list for the IDs, and please have a separate paragraph for each of the individual characters. Please don't lump it all in one paragraph. Put them in separate paragraphs, and try to do a full paragraph for each of the characters. Although if you want to do bullet point that is acceptable as well. But for my purposes, it's easier if you do in fact have it as a single paragraph. Okay, so the IDs therefore will be 10 of these names, concepts, like it could be like Socrates or your favorite character Cleon, ruff, ruff, from Wasps and so forth. All of those are likely to show up as characters. Give me some brief identification, like 3 different things you can say about them, and then you should be in good shape. You do be careful. You don't want to say something like Socrates, philosopher at Athens, lecturer at Athens. That doesn't actually come out as different. You might say Socrates appears in clouds as a silly sophist. In real life, he was a philosopher in Athens. You could mention he died of being convicted in 399 BC and whatever else you want to add. But they do have to be different things that you give me. Okay, those are the 10 IDs. Now, the passages. These will be emailed to you some days before the midterm exam itself is due. So there should be an email coming out to you warning you that the passages will be sent to you, and then they will be emailed to you individually. There are 3 of them altogether because each of the passages is taken from one of your 3 plays: Wasps, Clouds, and Birds. So once again, this is a relatively easy portion for you to take. When you get your passages, then you're going to answer the 4 questions that are given to you on the closed book section of the midterm. Those 4 questions are the title of the work, the author, which is a giveaway, that's Aristophanes, the plot of the work as a whole, a brief summary of it, and then the passage's context within the play as a whole. Be sure you do both of those, both the plot of the work as a whole and the context of the passage. And when you're talking about the context of the passage, think about anything unusual or distinct that the author, Aristophanes, wants to highlight for the audience. Is there some special message he wants to get across? So make sure you look for that in the passage and be able to explain that to me. And that's distinct from the whole plot. So be sure you get both C and D in there. You will lose points if you forget to do one or the other of those. Okay, so as long as those are covered, then you should be okay with those passages. And as I say, with only 3 plays to concern yourself with, you shouldn't have a big deal with that. All right, that's the closed book part. And as closed book tells you, according to the Oath of Academic Honesty, you may not use any aids except for the computer that you type on and the brain up here, your memory, to be able to complete the closed book part. All right, closed book part, open book part. The open book part, now you can use whatever you want to. If you want to use any outside sources, then please cite them properly with footnote or endnote in the paper, and then provide them in the bibliography. Any format like Chicago Manual Style is acceptable for doing that, but you do need to cite those sources in order to avoid plagiarism. And the open book section counts for 60 points. And you can write it, the essay, 12-point or 14-point font, double space or 1.5 space is acceptable for the spacing. Avoid single space though, because I will need to make comments and it's hard to read it. All right, the essay. You have 2 choices of topic for the essay. You are either going to describe what Aristophanes wants to accomplish in one of those 3 plays that you choose to discuss: Clouds, Wasps, Birds. What was the message he was trying to get across to his audience? And lay out for me some examples of how he conveys that message. The other choice is to describe to me in what way you believe the play is an Athenian play, that is specific for an Athenian audience in an Athenian theater, or in what way was this play focused particularly on topics that would be of importance to an Athenian audience more so than a general Greek audience? So in what way was this an Athenian play rather than a general Greek play? For that, you need to pay very close attention to your World of Athens book, and especially whatever you wrote about in your video days up to this point. You've had 3 so far, so therefore you have plenty of data to work with from World of Athens for this essay. So you could write about that if you'd like to. So those are your 2 topics. Either what was the message that Aristophanes wanted to convey to his audience, or what other purpose did he have in writing the play the way he did? That's one. And the other is, why do you think the play you choose to write about is an Athenian play specifically rather than a general Greek play? Here are the standards for good essays. Grammar, punctuation, spelling, proofreading, editing must be really good, okay, especially with spell check and thesaurus and such on a word processor. Be sure you're really good with those. Get it edited if necessary if you have any difficulties with English grammar, but you must have those in good shape in order to score well on the midterm exam. Also, you need to prove your argument. That means state your argument at the beginning in your introductory essay, introductory paragraph of your essay. Then, in your central paragraphs, provide me with textual evidence, actual passages, and analytical discussion from the play that you choose, so that I know that you've read it and I know that you're able to analyze the play and then use that to come up with your argument and eventually your conclusion. And then, of course, come up with a conclusion at the end, wrapping everything all up. But the big thing I'm going to be looking for is your ability to prove your argument. Not everything that you say in the essay necessarily has to be tied in with a particular passage citation, but any claim that you make. So, for instance, if you want to say Cleon is being portrayed as a really bad guy in Wasps. Well, I know that, but you have to cite me evidence to show that, like maybe something from the Trial of the Dogs, with Cleon Hound, or maybe that parabasis in which Cleon is mentioned very disparagingly, or whatever it might be. You have to mention that and then prove it by demonstrating to me in the play what you're talking about. It's not enough just to state it. Even if I know that you're right, I need to see that you actually read the play and got that information that you're providing to me from the play specifically. Okay, and that's what you therefore have to demonstrate by giving me passage citations. So that's going to be the most important thing for you to do in the essay to be able to accomplish it correctly. All right, when you get finished, then please put the entire exam together in a single document, preferably Word from Microsoft Office if you can, or else a PDF is acceptable as well. And then remember, the whole thing goes in your Dropbox by the due date given to you on your syllabus, calendar, and forums for the midterm to be turned in. Okay, and if you do all that correctly, then you should be in awesome shape for the midterm exam. All right then, well, certainly feel free to email me if I can be of any assistance with the midterm exam, and good luck with it. I hope it goes really well. As I say, try to have a sense of humor with it. How can you not have a sense of humor with rough? And as soon as you're done with your midterm, we'll see you on the following session on the other side of that midterm to continue on with the great rollicking adventure of ancient laughter. All right, thanks very much, and we will see you next video.